This is Ion Sullivan. I am your host, Mike McGuire, joined today, as we are each week, by the chairman, Rob Doherty. Rob, good afternoon.
Hey, how are we doing today, Mike?
We are doing great. We're just talking about the NFL season.
I'm very excited. There's at least 3 games I'm going to this year. I'm going to go to the Dolphins at Green Bay.
That's going to be epic.
My family and your family.
That's right.
Then we're just planning going down to my house for the Tampa Bay Dolphins game. Right?
So that's 0-2 for the Dolphins.
There you go. And then I have to see the Steelers schedule.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go to at least one Steelers game this year.
Well, it's your adopted home stadium.
Yeah. So
is the Steelers, and
so
we'll see.
Deal.
Maybe the Steelers are playing the Dolphins, but catch 3 Dolphin games.
Yeah.
Be excellent.
Yeah.
Be outstanding. So, got a number of things going on in the county right now.
Mm-hmm. It's election season.
It's election season, and you don't think of it that way in April, but we do, and we got petitions going on. What's happening? Anything exciting petitions?
So there's 2 challenges from what I saw. I have to tell you, the people who run the BOE. They put a ton of information up on the website now. They do a very good job with it. So now you can see whose petitions are valid and not valid.
Right.
And then if there's a challenge, right, so you have 3 days to make the generals, and then you have 6 days to make the specifics. The specs, as they call them in the inside game, you have 6 days for that. And Saturday and Sundays count. You have to remember that.
It's calendar days.
It's calendar days. It's not business days. So I believe Peter Goodman is being challenged down in Mammoth-Haven.
Okay.
And Richie Benjamin, who switched to the Democratic line.
So Richie Benjamin, whose wife was very active in Republican committee in Thompson.
Yeah. Well,
who was the commissioner of the Republican Party?
She was the commissioner for the Republican side of the BOE. That is correct.
And so he decided that he was a Democrat.
After being elected for 20 some odd years as a highway superintendent in the town of Thompson, he woke up one morning and said, "Hey, I think I'm a Democrat."
Now, we
you know my rule, Michael. So please.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking. I was in the courthouse yesterday. I'm at the courthouse every day,
Yeah.
and New York State's a very progressive state.
It is.
And in New York, in the courthouses, they have posted right up there on the wall that you can use whatever restroom to apply.
Like if
to
you feel
what you're
pretty
identifying
if you
as.
feel pretty that day, you could use whatever.
Use the ladies' room.
Okay, God bless.
Absolutely.
God bless.
So maybe that's what's going on in the Benjamin household. He woke up one day and just realized that he was.
Well, he openly
bicameral.
He openly supported Bill Reber. I mean, he used to put posts up all the time supporting Bill Reber
while he was an elected.
His
wife was the commissioner.
Was the commissioner. I've had my issues. So just so you know, the Benjamin family and the Crumley family are super friendly,
super close.
Okay. And it was more than just the parents. His sister and my sister-in-law are very good friends. In fact, they were at my nephew's wedding.
That's it. Yeah.
So very close. But I'm not going to speak ill of another Republican. But quite frankly, I found Lori to not be a very good commissioner. And in fact, if you recall, when I had issues with the way my election was run,
right?
Okay, and we're talking about the actual electioneering part of it,
right?
She never came out to see me, not one time. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing. I'm stating fact now. Never came out to see me, and she did not deny my foil. But as you know, as the foil, what was your exact job?
Of the appeals officer.
Appeals
for all
officer.
Foils.
So what happened was I foiled.
I thought it was a pen pal to Ken Walter, but
yeah,
that's what it was.
So I appealed the I wanted to see the machine tapes because I had different
Right.
numbers. I had different numbers than what they presented. Okay.
Right.
And I was there that night.
Correct.
And I wrote the numbers down
Off the machines.
off the machines, and then I had different numbers. And that had happened in the Scagnelli race, if you remember.
Yes, it did.
In the judge race.
For judge up in Neversink.
So then I went down there and I, did my foil, and Deanna came out. The Democrat, came out, and she was very nice. Don't get me
Nadia's
wrong.
daughter does very good.
She does a very good job.
Yep.
And she came down. She came out of the office to talk to me. Lori never came out of the office to speak with me. Then they let that expire. Okay, you have a certain amount of days. They have to reply. They did not reply at all.
They just ignored it.
Ignored it. Then I went to the appeals officer.
Right.
Did an appeal.
Correct.
Okay, put in another one. They let that one expire. At no point in time. Now I just want to be clear here. I am the sitting chairman
Of the legislature.
a Republican, and the Republican commissioner has zero contact with me.
Now, that is
zero.
That is one job that actually is a politically partisan job.
It is a politically partisan
you became
job.
chairman of the legislature. You were chairman for all people, certainly in your district, and really as a chairman of the legislature of the whole county.
Correct.
And I was often accused of being favoring one side over the other.
That's not the case, though.
Which was funny that, I couldn't tell you how most of the people in my office voted, but I know that my deputy was a lifelong Democrat, and he authored many of the opinions that came through the legislature.
Correct.
So, because he was the parliamentarian to the
Correct.
legislature, and many of the things were procedural.
Correct.
So we just followed the law. So there you had the one job, though, that is politically partisan. That's why it's set up that way.
That's how you get the job.
Right.
You get the job through the party.
Right.
Okay?
That's exactly
I mean,
right.
that's how the job... And then let me tell you how that job works. Here's the funny thing about it. When people sit there and they're like, once that person's in, okay? So in the state of New York, they've really, really, really insulated that job, okay?
Well, and they are completely an independent entity.
They're
they
autonomous,
are funded by the legislature, because it's county funds. The legislature really can't mess with their funding at all.
Oh, you obviously did not watch the meetings today.
No, I did not.
But I'm going to get to that in a second. So then the second one runs out. Okay, the second foil runs out.
Right.
And then at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday, it's Deanna who calls me.
The Democrat
The
commissioner.
Democrat commission says, "Hey, your foil's ready." Okay. I go downstairs. I get it. Right. It's like 4:20 when I get it.
And you say you go downstairs. That may not mean much to most people, but to go downstairs to get it means you were in your office.
I was in my office
On the second floor of the legislature, because you were the sitting chair of the legislature.
Correct.
So you were in your office.
I was in my office working.
Which would be very unique, because many people wouldn't be able to relate to, what does he mean? He goes downstairs. It's the ground floor.
Yeah.
And then others wouldn't be able to relate because they can't imagine you actually being in your office when there wasn't a meeting or not.
But yeah, so as you know, I put in 50, 60 hours a week in that
Correct.
job. And that's why the county was in good shape. But anyway, so then I go downstairs, I get it. And so now they always certify elections at 11 o'clock in the of the morning, right?
Yep.
That is the time they do it. You can go through 15 years of that, and you can look at what time they certify the election.
Okay.
My election, so I get the stuff at 4:20 in the afternoon. They happened to come in early that day and certify that election at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow,
so
before they even opened.
Before they even opened. So let's say I had an issue with the paperwork I got. Right? So I had basically...
So wait a minute, let's back this up.
Yeah.
You get the foil, we'll call it day one.
Yeah.
You get it in the afternoon.
Correct.
4:20, you said.
Yep.
You came downstairs because you were still at work and it wasn't a day when it was a meeting going on. And then the next day at 8 o'clock, so you had 20 minutes or 40 minutes while they were still open. And then the next day at 8 o'clock, an hour before they opened,
they certified
they had the decision.
So let's say I hired an attorney to argue my case.
Correct.
Okay? He would have had 40 minutes
Right.
to put in an objection in. 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Okay.
What was he waiting for?
I mean, so they. I'm not saying I was cheated. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying it's odd that they didn't answer 2 foils. I
Yep.
think it's odd that they didn't do it at 11 o'clock like they've always done, and they still do it today at this very time.
Right.
Right. I know. Now, I speak to the Republican Elections Commissioner. I think sometimes way too much, by the way. We talk every day, okay? Unlike the last chairman, did not speak to our Elections Commissioner at all. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
At
she
all.
wanted to be independent.
No. I'm talking about how, Pam Mern
Right.
did not speak to Greg Goldstein at all.
Oh, right. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we, excuse me. So, I just find it odd that I was given it, they blew off the foils. I never spoke to the commissioner. But so what happened at the legislature today, so they had an incident in White Sulphur Springs. All right.
Wow, it's not much. I mean, White Sulphur Springs is
Well,
a great restaurant there.
yeah. So
The fire company.
So the fire company, which puts on a great breakfast. by
Oh
the
my
way.
God, their breakfast,
Right.
their pancake breakfast,
And they do a
is
fine
terrific.
job out there.
Yep.
They do, like many fire companies or ambulance companies, they have, on election day, they have the soup or the chili, and
Right.
you go buy it,
Right.
and
Yep.
all that stuff, right? So their kitchen is kind of oddly set up where they're within the 100-foot marker.
Okay.
100 feet is not a lot. Okay,
No,
it's
no,
not
no,
a lot.
no.
So apparently, a young lady who was a minor had a shirt on representing one of the people who was running for office.
Okay.
And
This is in last year's election.
this is in
2 years ago.
2024.
All right. Okay.
Okay. And so she was asked to cover it up. It is fall, by the way. You can put a sweatshirt on, you can do something.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. So they kind of pinged them a little bit on that. It's because it's not their opinion. It's the state that's going to come down on them. Okay.
Sure.
They answer to the state. Okay. So then they went back and forth, and I guess there was another situation.
Now, is this person working for the campaign or the election?
No. They were working. She was working.
working in the kitchen.
The kitchen, right? Running
Okay,
stuff
for the
back
fire
and
company.
forth.
But it is right there in the same area.
It's in the same area, right? And so I guess it spun out of control. The conversation back and the volley back and forth,
Right.
And the BOE, the Board of Elections, put their foot down, and they took away the polling site. Okay, and they're moving everyone to Swan Lake. All right?
Wow.
Which puts a lot of stress on Swan Lake, by the way.
Puts a lot of stress on Swan Lake, and which is already busy. As I recall, they use the firehouse in Swan Lake also.
Yep.
But White Sulphur, you've got an interesting population. You do have some elderly there. You have people that work in the area, and for them to go to Swan Lake, that's a fairly good drive. It's not like in Monticello when we moved. I remember they moved the polling place from the firehouse to the Strobel Center, which is not a mile.
No.
And it was quite an uproar about
Correct.
that. But it's quite a thing.
Well, in Liberty, when they moved it from,
Oh, yeah.
when they had three
had
polling
three.
places and
Yeah.
one, and then they moved one to the courthouse, I believe.
Yeah.
They that was an uproar.
uproar too. That was from the firehouse to the courthouse, which is also less than a mile.
Oh yeah, a couple
as
blocks.
As
right?
the crow flies.
So,
So unwalkable.
So they discussed that in the legislature today. Okay.
And White Sulphur it's a community kind of Bethel-like. It's a tight-knit community,
Correct.
and they turn out. I mean, you go up to White Sulphur Inn on a Friday night, literally you're going to see the whole town there.
Correct.
You
I mean, Bud and his lovely wife.
Yeah.
When they do the fish fry there,
Sure.
they get a great turnout. By the way, great food.
Great
It's Bud.
food.
I mean,
It's
come on,
Bud. Come on.
Let's not get crazy now. It's going to be good food. So they they move the site. So they lose a polling place. Now, as the Republican chair, it's a heavy Republican area. Okay, so
Sure is.
I'm not very happy about that.
Right.
But I do understand that they're autonomous,
They
right?
can do what they want to do, and they get judged by the state.
And you have, Kat Scott and Brian McPhillips and Louis, complaining about it. And you have Ken Walter standing up saying, oh, you could defund them. I don't think he understands how this process works.
No. You can't defund them.
You cannot defund them. So the way
This is nice.
Yeah. So the way the BOE works, okay, they get a pool of money for salaries.
Correct.
Okay. Once the legislature approves $1 more going into that pool,
Yep.
okay, you don't have a say on that dollar.
No, and how it's broken up in there, you don't have a say.
You don't have a say on how it's broken up, and you cannot retract that dollar at any point.
No.
At any point. Now, they're sitting there talking about defunding democracy. That's what the Democrats were talking about today.
That's is not unlike what they want to do statewide or nationally.
Correct.
They want to defund democracy.
They want to defund democracy.
Right.
Okay, even though we live in a representative republic.
Right.
But that's not. But they want to hurt the very agency who's protecting, election integrity.
And who do they expect? Let's say they could defund it, which means they can't. We know that they're autonomous because of the nature of what they do is political. They have to be insulated from the body politic.
Back in the good old days when Tim Hill and Thalman was there
Fran
and all
Thalman,
that, right? Who comes down the diner. Oh, I love chatting with her. She has great stories.
Tim Hill does not come to the diner.
He does not.
Which is good.
He does not. So back then, the legislature had taken away money from them, right? But you can't do that today.
You cannot do that today.
Okay? Today, that is impossible.
Right.
Every dollar that goes in, and you don't get to say, you're like, so let's say your niece worked there, and she's not a commissioner, okay?
Right.
And you're like, oh, I want my niece to get a raise, okay? And we're gonna put $5,000 more into their pool, okay? And you vote on that as the legislature, and it goes in, okay? Once that $5,000 goes in, the commissioners can divvy up any way they want.
And we had that issue, I believe, when we were with the county, that the commissioners came and they were chastising the legislature that they wanted more money. And I remember trying to explain to them, and then we sent Tom down to explain to them because Tom Corley does a great job with the election
great job
stuff, tremendous job. He was great to have as a deputy. He's a lifelong Democrat. Didn't matter to me because the law is neither.
Correct.
And so we sent him down to talk them off the ledge a little bit and to explain to them that you're getting a sum of money. If you want to give yourself a raise, give yourself a raise.
Correct.
But that's what you're getting. Whatever the budget is for the BOE, you deal with it how you want.
Correct.
And they said, well, that's not fair. They have to give us a raise. Well, do what you want. Give yourself a raise.
Correct. And there's arguments for giving raises and not increasing the pool, not increasing the pool.
Right.
But don't get me wrong. Every year the pool's increased.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's just how much the pool's increased.
Much? Correct.
Okay? And I think that Pam and Deanna both do a great job.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people complained to me this year about how the BOE is being run, right? And I kind of chuckled to myself. Isn't it funny when you have to follow the rules?
Oh.
How the game's a little different then?
Well, the rules have to apply to me. Why would they apply to me?
They have to apply to everyone.
Everyone.
Okay?
They're the rules.
In fact, the Democrat judicials for the 100th got rejected.
Wow.
All right? Because the date was wrong. So they had the June 26th as the primary date, and we all know it's June 23rd.
Right.
So they got rejected. They didn't even go to prima facie. They didn't even start the process at the counter. Sorry, can't help you.
It's one of those areas that it has to be exact.
Correct.
The petition, everything has to be exact because it is prescribed by statute.
Correct.
This is how it is. You can't say, well, we're close. There's no close. If the statute says this is what it is, that's what it is.
Here's the problem. And I've had my issues with the way the BOE was run in the past.
Right.
Okay. But that's changed. Okay. And I believe Greg's fight or disagreement with Pam was, well, we used to do it this way. And
Right.
Pam's like, that is not the law.
Right.
Okay. And they got into, a little scuffle there.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly Pam won that scuffle because she's like, look, I'm just following the law.
That's all I'm doing.
I was at a Republican.
Well, that's the wink and nod.
Yeah, correct. It's gone now. It's
gone.
That's gone now. I was at a Republican meeting and someone said, well, this is what this commissioner used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm like, you can't do this on county time and using county resources.
Right.
That was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're not allowed to do that.
Right.
And I'm not bad-mouthing the person, but that's how it always was, okay?
Sure.
They used to do that all the time. You go in the office, blah, blah, blah. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Okay? Those days are over.
Literally, the back rooms are closed.
They are closed. And I think it's better. It gives everyone a fair opportunity.
All you ever ask, whether it's a basketball game
say all
or
the time,
or wrestling match or elections, is tell me what the rules are, and I'll play within the rules.
Correct.
Don't change the rules on me, and don't apply the rules differently. Whatever the rules are, they are. And with elections, the most important thing is everything is exact.
Correct.
That's the way it is. If the date has to be on there in a certain form, that's what it's got to be. It's the only way at the basal level to ensure that elections are done fairly.
Correct.
There's
and that's
no
the whole
interpretation.
Point. So the legislature, is going after, the commissioners today, right? Which I think is insane, by the way. Then, other people in the social media world, they start going after them, and then people start piling on.
And that's a problem with the legislature, that they should know what the rules are, know what the law is,
What?
and work within that. Well, I know that.
We spent over $100,000 training these guys
Right.
on civility,
Right.
and they still argue night and day. Okay, still argue night and day. They still don't know. They don't understand their job. Okay, and that's funny. I used that word, and it wasn't on purpose. But let's talk about that. So they don't understand what they're doing as legislators, okay? They clearly don't understand. I mean, we discussed in other shows that Matt McPhillips,
Matty Nicegg,
who,
by the way, was referred to as Matty Nicegg in a legislative meeting.
well, he is Matty Nicegg.
Now he is.
He lives in a gated community because he works for Nicegg.
Correct.
Okay, let's get that one straight, okay? Even though he said he was going to help with housing, the only housing he helped himself with was his own.
His own. Well,
okay?
he did. Well,
okay.
Charity starts at home.
Charity starts at home. You ain't kidding there. So they don't understand what their role is in the county, okay? In a small county,
Right.
okay? You have so much say over everything, right? Everyone knows, and they've even admitted it, and we've discussed this in other shows, that they lied to the people of this county. We don't have the money that they say we have. There's going to be some hard decisions coming up, okay? They're gonna start robbing every fund we have
And blaming others.
okay, when it's all their fault, okay?
But isn't their job to get elected?
That's what they think their only job is. But
Right.
by the way, I wouldn't go around bad-mouthing Board of Election Commissioners.
That's not a good idea.
Okay, and then say, "Oh, can I get reelected?" Okay,
Right.
all right. I'm not going to start saying we got to tear down democracy, basically,
Right.
and change the rules, okay, and then say, "Oh, can you reelect me?"
Could you imagine if they actually could do that? I mean, what would they do on whatever date it'll be, November 6th? They're going to call up Ed McAndrew and say, oh, by the way, you got a couple hundred people that can go man the poll. I mean, what are they going to do?
I don't know
I mean,
what
you're
they're
gonna
gonna
defund. Wait, then what?
What are you going to do?
I mean, then what? People don't realize that the BOE is, with all of the backing up of petition dates and all of the different primary dates and the special elections, they are a year-round. On top of it, it's not just like one day a year.
Okay, so you remember the good old days, right?
yeah.
So when you used to go get petitions, I've been a committeeman on and off for 35 years. Okay. When you went to go get petitions, used to do it in August.
Correct.
Okay? It was nice and warm out.
Yeah,
the sun was up to 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
You know, blah, blah, blah. It was nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, you're knocking on people's doors. It's pitch black out.
Right.
It's
winter.
pitch black. It's winter. I mean, the funny thing about it is, like you guys see, you know where the front door is because that's the only path that's shoveled.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So a house has 3 doors, and you're like, well, which one's the front door? Oh, that one because it's shoveled.
It's shoveled.
Right. And you're walking down. I mean, I did one house. Mm-hmm. I was like, there's no way I don't fall down these stairs on the way back down. There's no way. They were a sheet of ice. Right. You know, and the people are nice enough to sign and they participate and all
Sure.
that, and it's nice. And as you know, as a committeeman, so I generally get 2 full sheets, right? And
Which is what, about 30 signatures?
30 signatures, yeah. So I get anywhere from 30 to 45 signatures each time, right? So in the town of Bethel, you need 53 people to sign. Keep in mind, you have 10 committee people,
Right.
But I always get 2 sheets. My wife's not here now.
She's on vacation.
So she used to be here during the process. Now she's not.
Right.
And she's not flying home, from 85 degrees to go get 15
Not in
signatures.
February.
No. So I generally have a list of people I go to, and it's the same
Right.
people over and over and over again, right? And it's a list of 50, and after I get my 30. I stopped going. Right, we need 53. We have 10 committee people. How Russell's a good, does
Sure.
a good job. Ruth Duncan, killer, absolute killer. Love some Ruth Duncan there.
Yep.
Adam Gold does a good job. Other people, chip in here and there. And I think we handed in this year 98. Right?
Okay.
And so we need 53. We're good. Right.
You need a little bit extra.
You need a little extra, which we'll get to shortly. So now in the process. It used to be in late August. You had the primaries in September.
Yep.
And then in November, boom.
Yeah, you come out of primaries and you're ready to go. A month later, you're ready to go.
You're ready to go.
When I ran, I think it was September 20th, thereabouts, was this primaries.
So now you have petitions starting in late February, okay, going into March, okay. The process, they extend the amount of time you have to go after petitions, to challenge petitions. Then, in late June, you have a primary.
Right.
Right? Right? Then, no, you're not done yet.
Right.
Okay? Then, there's special elections over the summer, and the way they keep changing everything. I mean, the BOE used to be a plum job.
Yeah. It used to be basically 1 day a year.
Okay.
That was heavy.
Yeah, it's not a good job anymore.
No,
okay?
not at all.
So now you get early voting, 2 weeks before. You have, there's a lot of work.
Early voting in 3 different places.
By
or
the
2
way,
places.
the same legislature that was going after the BOE today, okay, is the same legislature who denied voting in the lobby at the government center. Okay, when when Legislator Bernardo put up a resolution so that the elderly and the infirm that didn't have to go upstairs to vote.
Right.
Okay. Wanted to have it down in the lobby.
Yeah.
This is the same legislature that voted against it. The very same legislature voted against it.
And why would they vote against it?
Why would you vote against it?
Why would you vote against it?
Wouldn't you want to make elections as easy as possible?
Well, I think that's the whole argument against the SAFE Act, which is a false argument by the Democrats, I might also add. That you're gonna disenfranchise people. Like you're telling me that there are certain minorities populations that can't get a driver's license, can't get an ID, don't have any photo ID, because I don't think you're getting on an airplane without an ID.
You're not getting SNAP benefits without an ID.
You're not getting into the Democrat convention without an ID.
You're not buying liquor without an ID.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean. I think about how often I pull my ID out. I see people at the airport, they have it on their phone. I'm like, I got to figure out how to do that.
Right.
Because it happens every day. I mean, I see people using they're like, oh, I have it on my phone. I'm like, well, that's a great idea because I need to do that. But I don't know how that works with the TSA. I don't know if they'll be down for that. I don't know if you're allowed to scan it or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, I buy this flavored water that you have to have an ID to buy this flavored water.
Why is that?
I don't know. My wife bought it for me, and it's good. We're not endorsing them at all, but I like it. And I guess it's got caffeine in it or whatever. And you have to, in ShopRite, you have to call the manager over to plug in your birthday.
That's crazy.
It's crazy for this flavored water. So I had to check with some of my police friends, make sure it was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. It's just water with some in there. It's an energy drink.
So the very legislature who went after the BOE today is the same legislature, I want you to keep in mind, that voted down, Legislator Bernardo's resolution to have voting in the lobby. So they want people, the older people and the infirm people, to have to sit there and wait for an elevator. Right. That, as you know,
one elevator, and it's fairly slow.
And it's fairly slow. I think, and it's broken a lot. Okay.
A lot.
Okay. So if that elevator is broken at the time of election,
we've disenfranchised everybody.
We disenfranchised everyone that can't walk up 2 flights of stairs.
Right.
I mean, that's what we just did.
It's crazy, and we've had voting in the lobby for several years.
Correct.
And I recall when I worked on the second floor near you, it was nice when you had voting in the lobby because you'd look over, you'd see people that you hadn't seen, you go down and you visit with them a little bit. It was very nice.
Well, that's how I would vote, right?
Sure.
So you would, I know this is crazy talk, and you might not believe this.
Right.
But as I was walking down the hall to talk to a commissioner, right, I would look down. If there was no line,
you'd jump down.
I would go down to vote, right?
Absolutely.
I know you think it's crazy that there was actually someone a legislator actually working during the day.
Absolutely.
Okay, that there wasn't a meeting and wanted to go talk to a commissioner about a resolution.
Well, what? That's impossible. Okay. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not going to happen.
It's true.
So what races do we have going on? I mean, it's the midterm elections, which are a big deal.
So the big races, as I see it, so Peter Goodman and Victor Jelly are going to duke it out down there in Mamakanen for the supervisor's role. That's a big race. Richie Benjamin is running, as a Democrat, like we talked about.
Newly minted Democrat.
And he's not running for the supervisor's position. He's running for a councilman position.
All right.
He's going against Sean Wiles. And
okay.
From what I understand, I don't know this to be true, but there seems to be some issues with Richie's petitions.
Well, that's got to be targeting because, we know that his wife had been the commissioner. She knows the rules.
There's no wink and nod anymore, Mike.
No wink and nod anymore. Therein lies the problem.
Therein lies the problem for them.
Yeah.
There's no more wink and nod. That's the problem.
So there's another person whose name is in the news on a national level, that someone that I know that you knew and you worked closely with, was Lee Zeldin.
My man Lee.
Talking about him potentially being the permanent replacement at Attorney General for Pam Bondi.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Does that mean that my good friend Mike Martucci would then take his job?
Well, that was the second question that I have.
Yeah,
I know that you are in touch with the Senator Martucci, former Senator Martucci.
Yeah.
So though it's a title for life. So Senator Martucci, who's doing a great job with the EPA.
So there's 6 zones in the EPA.
Yep.
In the United States.
Right.
He's running 2 of them.
Sure.
Okay. On 2 different coasts. Keep that in mind. That's how talented Mr. Martucci is.
Yeah.
That he's running 2 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the logical choice. But here's the problem with that, as always, right? And people experience this all the time. If you make him the head of the EPA, who replaces him in 2 zones, right? I mean, so then you can't get people confirmed, blah, blah. But knowing Mike, he is very, very competent, lieutenants, and they could probably run it. And, that would be a big deal for Mike to run that because, he has 3 young children. He's down in Washington a lot then.
Yep.
That's something that you have to sit down and speak with your wife about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to take a look at it, but we would certainly be very happy. Lee Zeldin put up a great race for governor, and the people of the state of New York today really wish that he had won that race.
Oh, I bet you a lot of people who voted in that election, I find that when the Democrats in this state put up someone no one knows, they tend to vote for them because they're Democrats, right? And then once they get to know that person, not so good.
Yeah, well, we see the mayor of the city of New York is...
Well, he told you who he was. I don't want to hear this.
Well,
he told you who he was.
He told you who he was, and he's out recently trying to entice people to come back from Florida.
That
And he
will not
promises them that he will raise their taxes when they get here. But he's told you all along who he was.
Okay, on Sunday, what was the weather like here on Sunday?
Sunday, I believe it was a fairly nice day.
Okay, was it
fall? It was spring-like?
Was it 89 degrees?
It was not.
Okay.
No, it was probably in the 50s.
Okay.
Might have been raining.
Okay. 89 degrees, sunny all day.
Yeah.
You know, my family, you know, we went on a dinner cruise for
Nice.
Easter.
Yep.
I mean, had some friends come with us. Could not have been a nicer day. Beautiful, sunny, hot, you know, a little too hot for me sometimes.
You're right.
But, you know, went home, went swimming in the pool. You guys didn't do that here, did you?
We didn't. It was raining. The dogs were out in the rain.
Okay,
We
so
did that.
so once you're down in Florida,
You're not coming back.
You're not coming back.
You're not coming back.
You're just not coming back.
No.
I don't care if you're on the East Coast, West Coast. I don't care where you are. You're not coming back.
You're not going down there when you're looking back here and it's the rainy season and it's 45 and
Not
you're
only
down
that,
there.
the nonsense that you tolerate here, okay, on the day-to-day basis, and how they chip you on every little fee, every little thing, all the time, right? Because it's all about raising revenues. Because they're always
You got to feed this monster that the state of New York has created.
correct, and they, you know, they still haven't recovered from when they didn't hand out those licenses 5 years ago for the
Right.
casinos,
Right.
And they were in a $2 billion shortfall. They've never recovered from that.
No.
They've only spiraled further down from that, and you know it's unfortunate. But once you're not here, like when I go down there, and you're down there for 3 days, you know I have a nice life, and
Yeah.
you kind of dread coming back.
Well, my good friend Eric Adler, who you know, outstanding attorney here
Yes.
in the county, who I work closely with and work closely against. Loved competing against Eric because I know you're always going to have to be at your best because he's always on his game. He just bought a house in Tennessee.
Why wouldn't you?
You know why not? You know he's my age. He's mid-60s, and he says, what's here for me except cold? His wife is a pharmacist, and she works for the Department of Corrections. She's going to be retiring, and what is keeping him here?
What?
I mean, he would like to sell the property that he has up here, and he bought a beautiful home down in Nashville, and he and I were talking about it the other day. It's what's the reason to stay? And so the other side of that is, well, what's the reason to come back?
Why would you come back?
Why would you come back? And so you're going to try to entice businesses to come back so that they can endure the beautiful Four Seasons, and we promise to charge you more in taxes when you come back. Why would you come back?
So in the state of the county, okay?
Right.
I would love to see them do a state of the county speech, by the way. Okay?
Well, it used to be done, and then during your administration, it didn't need to be done because you had Talk Sullivan, and
Correct.
you had much more transparent, much to the dismay of people that would like, well, yeah, you have to be transparent, but hey, we didn't discuss this in the back.
Okay.
That's what transparent is.
They said that openly
All the time.
Okay. Wait, we didn't discuss this in the back first. I'm like, no, we discussed it here. Remember, I was like, do you know how this works? Okay, it's a first, a second
Discussion, right.
and we discuss out in the open. All right. A good, as you know, the current county attorney
Yep.
does not live in our county. Okay.
And I think there's something in
Which is
some obscure document that says he's supposed to be a voter registered in the county.
Okay.
It's an obscure document. I don't think it's anything of significance. What's it, like the charter or something like that?
Yeah. So
the county constitution.
So now they're doing a charter review.
Right.
Okay. But a majority of this legislature,
Right.
okay, all the Democrats
Right.
voted to break the county charter.
Right.
And now they want to dictate to us what the county charter says. Okay. By the way, I applied for the county charter.
Right.
I got rejected. Me and maybe two other people know that document backwards and forwards.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
One of them sitting across from me.
Yep.
One of them happens to be on there.
Right.
The county historian happens to be on there, just so you know.
Oh, John Conway.
Yeah.
We worked a lot with John Conway.
Yeah.
He did all the Fort
man.
Delaware. Tremendous amount of
Think about that.
county knowledge.
When I talk about my successes as the chairman and the legislator, I never include that.
Right.
But that's got to be up there.
Oh,
Okay,
that's a big deal.
Let me tell you, they hit a home run there all the time.
All the time.
They do such a great job there.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to agree with them politically.
No.
Because that's not what that's about. That's about, restoring our history as a county, having events there, making it a place to go in the county. I mean, they do such a great job
certainly
there.
brings revenue to the western part of the county.
Correct.
And brings a lot of students that go there.
Correct.
And, John is so informative. And I think that's a great segue to the next topic that I wanted to talk about, and that's the job situation in the county. My understanding is that the jobs are up, and the legislature is taking a bow for the good work that they've done on the job situation. So where are we with jobs in the county?
Are you trying to poke me, Mike?
I would never do that.
Okay, so I read the article that they had in the Democrat. Well, first there was an article in the Mid-Hudson News. And our good friend Mike Martucci owns that.
That.
But I disagree with a lot of things that's written in there because I don't think it's fact-based, okay?
Right.
So you can say, don't get me wrong, the article in the Mid-Hudson News was fact-based, but they're not giving you a historical perspective.
Right.
And when I say historical, I'm not saying 20 years ago. I'm talking about 2 years ago.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I've mentioned this several times. The day I left office, okay, there was 36,600 people employed in this county, okay? There was 1,400 people unemployed in this county,
All right.
okay? So the article that was written...
And just to be clear, you had 14 people that were in the workforce that were unemployed.
Correct.
There was a lot of
1,400,
others
correct.
that just had taken themselves out of the workforce.
Correct. Oh, we're going to discuss that right
Right.
now. So there was an article written in the Democrat, and I've gone over this several times with you. I think the Democrat, since the new editor took over,
Yep.
okay, does a tremendous job.
And that's good to hear because it's an important newspaper because we don't have another legitimate newspaper, including the Record. It's
over.
It's over. The Record
over.
is over. And, Fred Stabbert always has been a very important, his family's been very important in the county because of what they produce. They've kept it as a local newspaper.
Correct. So the article's written. Now keep in mind, they're down 700 jobs from December. Right?
Okay.
But they're still talking about the increase year over year. Okay. Which is scary when you hear the
It
numbers.
comes right out of the COVID stuff, though. When Biden took a bow for all the jobs, you came out of COVID.
No, so
a blind mouse is gonna get those jobs back.
So they have 30,000. I believe it's like 400 jobs. Right? You're down 6,000 jobs from the day I walked out of office
in a county of 75,000. That's a significant number.
Okay. The unemployed number, my employed number was 1,500, okay, the day I left office. Unemployed, all right? But we had 36,600 people employed. We have 30,000 now, okay, with 1,400 unemployed. So I only had 100 more unemployed, but I had 6,000 more jobs. The county is in a free fall. I had put something on Facebook in response to the Democrat article, and someone responded to me.
Okay.
And I said, the people look at two things when you're going to start a business. You're going to relocate your business to a place or start a business.
Right.
There's two things you look at mainly, and I've started many businesses, and I've been very successful with them.
And as chairman of the legislature, you were very involved in working with Walter Garigliano and the IDA,
correct,
to bring people to the county. You were
we had
on
6,000. We had 6,000 more jobs.
Right.
I mean, hello.
Yeah,
right. So the person says, "Oh, the legislature has something to do with the job." Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. you look at two things. One, you look at the workforce. Okay, can I find employees? Okay,
Sure.
right. Now we've been paying the partnership for 20 years to develop a workforce. We still haven't gotten there yet.
Now, they use the fancy name Partnership for Economic Development. The fundamental purpose of that agency is workforce development, because the IDA's function is bringing people here. And yes, they work together. But the role of that entity was workforce development.
And they haven't done it.
And, of course, the college is probably pretty significant in that. And
Correct.
the college is on life support.
We'll get to that
We'll
in a
get to
second,
that,
okay?
yeah.
So, because I do want to talk about that.
Yep.
So, that's their job. The second thing people look at is the tax situation. You can't have the chairman of management and budget vote for a budget and then says this is not very good for the county. Okay?
You got to vote it no.
Okay? Again, they've raised taxes over 4% in their 2 years. 2 and change and then a flat
So
2.
when they're elected to represent people.
That's who we are, by the way. We are not a democracy.
Right. We're a representative republic.
Correct.
So when you vote in favor of a budget that you believe is not good for the county.
Now, keep in mind, all the Republicans voted against the budget.
Right.
So go ahead.
When you vote for a budget that you believe is a bad budget, my question is, who are you representing?
Yourself.
Correct. Therefore, I tell you again, when they view their job as their job is to get elected and then to get reelected, if you're really not representing anybody.
It's personal enrichment. That's all they want.
Right.
See, I actually had the gall to go in there with a goal of making the county a better place to live. Okay?
My God. You have some nerve.
And I did that. Okay?
You did that.
All the county employees are way better. Okay? My wife was shocked. We'd be eating dinner. No one ever comes up to me when I'm eating dinner.
Right.
When she was on the school board or she was, ran Bethel Youth with Kathy McFadden, people used to walk up to us all the time to talk to her. Never talk to me. Okay? But when we would go to places, there's county employees that would come up to me all the time and say, thank you so much. It's a great contract. I really appreciate it. Because I looked at them as careers.
And in their opening meeting, when this legislature took their oath of office on January 2nd, 2024, their message was that they are there for the employees. They want to create a better existence for the employees.
I believe they will no longer walk on eggshells was a comment that was made.
That's correct.
Okay?
That's correct.
Tell me a commissioner that I have not spoken to in the last 2 years that A, did not take my phone call, or B, did not call me to ask me a question, okay? I mean,
Few.
I've been at private functions with people who are commissioners today, as you know, because you were at the same function, hugs, kisses, hi, how you doing, how's everything, super friendly with everyone, asking me if I'm running again. That's the number one question
Well,
I
they
get.
don't ask you if you're running again. They're begging you to run again.
So
They're begging you to run again. Let's call it what it is. Because
So-
I have seen you're not a hugger.
I am not a hugger.
You are not a hugger. Okay? But I have watched you walk into the government center post administration and are greeted by hugs abound.
So last Wednesday,
Right.
I was bringing in my petitions. I'm on there with the 24-year town clerk, Rita Sheen. I was on that
Yep.
petition. I had the judicials for the 100th, the Republican, which, by the way, we did not file last time, and we were able to file them this time
Right.
with double the amount of signatures necessary. And 3 townships didn't hand me theirs, and I was still able to accomplish the goal. And I had Highland Republicans' petitions, and I was handing them in. So the way it works when you hand in petitions, each person is allowed to be in the office by themselves, right? And you have to do everything at the counter, okay?
Right.
So you go in, you hand in your petitions, they give you a receipt for them,
Yep.
and then they clock them in,
Okay.
There's a clock there, like a punch card type situation, and they have to do every single page, right? And so I believe the Republican chair, Mr. William Chellis, who we love.
He's the not the Republican chair. He's the conservative chair.
Conservative chair. I'm sorry.
Right.
He was there, and he was, this is his first time doing it. And he's so I was outside for a good 20 minutes, but he had a lot to put in because in their party, the conservative chair does them all.
Right.
Every township, everything, right? So there's a lot of work there. So I'm standing there outside there, minding my own business, like I usually do.
Right.
The lovely Kathleen Lara comes up to me.
Our treasurer.
Michelle Huck comes up to me. I probably gave about 6 or 7 hugs that day, which if I give one hug a day
That's annoying, and we got to be very careful because the sheriff gets very upset when he sees hugs.
He's like, whoa, why am I not getting a hug? He even said that to me one time at a funeral. Like,
I understand.
Why are you hugging them? I'm like, Mike, come on, Mike. So yeah. So I, and people walking by, how the government center's open. Hey, Rob. Right. So it was very nice. It's always lovely to go back to the government center. I still have a lot of friends there. I still talk to people, but you're correct. So they were there for the employees, right?
Right.
That was there we're going to change the tide, okay?
Right.
Meanwhile, you're trashing the BOE today, okay? You're down 6,000 jobs in the county, okay?
In the county, but not county employees.
No, that's rising. That's rising.
So government is getting fatter.
But the one thing that people kind of skirted over in that jobs report that came out in January was that we're down again another 100 jobs in leisure. So
The
again,
CVA is cranking.
so they're down. So when I was in office,
Yep.
the year before I got into office, they received $900,000.
Right.
They now receive
That was 2020.
correct. So now between the work you and I did, okay, they receive $2.8 million, 3 times the money.
Right.
Okay. And they're still losing leisure jobs. Now we had discussed this last year that they had lost leisure jobs,
And they're doing the same thing they ever did. I don't see any new events being announced.
so that's funny you said that because the person who now runs it
Right.
was talking about. I don't know what he's talking about, but his main focus was we need more money to do X, Y, and Z. And one of the lines he said when he said that, okay, I'm not bad-mouthing the guy, I just want to be clear. We have enough events is one of the statements he made. And I sat there saying, no, you do not.
You don't have enough events until you have multiples every week.
Correct.
Because as you and I have talked, you've been up in the Lake George area. I spent a lot of time up there with 3 competitive skiers, and that was kind of our home place where we'd go to Gore Mountain. And when you checked into the hotel, didn't matter for us, we were going racing, but you'd get handed a flyer.
Like in college.
And here's exactly just like in college.
It's just like in college.
Here's the events. There's hockey tournaments, and there's this going on, and there's ice fishing. That's every weekend.
Correct. So when my wife and I
Have enough events.
Go to Newport,
Right.
It's the first thing they give you.
Yeah.
You walk in the door. Hi, how you doing, Mr. Doherty? Here's your event calendar.
Yeah.
And this is what's going on in Newport this weekend. And you're like, it's ideal.
It's ideal.
It's ideal. I mean, you want to do. I mean, obviously, we're going there for the mansions and some other
Right,
stuff
sure.
that we have pre-planned. But the point is that if you have no idea why you're there, they give you plan.
They give you incentive.
So prime example. So like when you go there, right? And let's say your son or daughter is in a hockey tournament,
Right.
there, right? So that's going to take 4 hours of your day, right? Because you're not going to watch another team play,
No.
right?
Especially if you're a parent, you're there. You're not a coach. You're not scouting.
Correct. So you go back to the hotel.
Right.
What are we going to do? Right?
Kids are going to swim. We're going to go out here. Mom's going to go to the outlets or whatever.
Yeah, well, to the mansions. That's
Go to
usually,
mansions,
That's
yeah.
usually the hot spot.
Yeah.
And then you have your list, and you're like, all right, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can
Right.
do this, we can do that, and then you run
Exactly.
down, the list of things. But we don't do that here. But that's another
No.
story. But anyway, so now we're down 6,000 jobs.
Right.
Right. Now remember, Matty Nysek was in charge of economic development.
Correct.
Right? And I don't think I emphasized this enough to you. Nadia, who's in the same party as him,
Yes.
okay, took him off the committee totally.
Completely off the committee.
So imagine being the chair of a committee and doing such a bad job that they don't take you off as chair and make you vice chair.
Right.
They don't take you off and make you, one of the 5 people. They take you off the committee completely.
Yeah. I mean, that's dramatic because, being on the committee alone, because the way the county system is set up, everybody goes to all the committee meetings because that's 2 of the 3 weeks.
So there's a room in the government center, as you know, called the committee room.
Right.
Because before me, they used to have them in that one room.
And they'd be jammed in there. It's a conference room, folks.
It's a conference room.
And there's a big conference table and chairs all around. And if you're having a meeting, it's fine, but they would have committee meetings. So anyone that wanted to watch was standing against the walls and out the doors.
Correct.
It was kind of crazy.
So I said, let's move it
Right.
to, the legislative room.
Chamber. It's not being used at that time.
Correct. Well, I hope not. We
It's
have
a
the say
legislative
over it. So now you sit there and you can see everyone.
Correct.
Right? So you'd have commissioners sitting next to you and stuff. So when you were in that little room,
Yep.
someone could be talking. I'm like, who's talking? And you're like leaning
You
over
look-
to see
right.
who's
See
talking.
who's talking, right.
Now you're in a big open room. By the way, they're all recorded. You want
Right.
transparency, folks?
Yeah.
I brought you transparency.
Yeah, you put pretty substantial money into new cameras so that now everybody
New
that talks is on
microphones,
cameras, new microphones.
everything. Okay?
The whole thing is all
You
new.
want transparency, folks?
Yeah.
I brought you transparency.
Yeah, because
They
some
used-
people couldn't get into that other meeting.
They used to have them in rooms, okay, that you didn't see or hear anything.
Right.
Okay? Now, anyone can show up to a meeting. You could stay home in your pajamas and watch the meeting if you want to.
Right.
Okay? That's transparency, folks. Okay? If you want to talk about who is the most transparent chairman of all time, I didn't vote for people who violate our charter.
Right.
I didn't vote. I'm the one that voted. Well, as the chairman, you have the right to say where the meetings are. So
Right.
I said I want them in the chamber, and that's where they are.
That's what they are. Well, and I believe one of their first orders of business was to ignore the charter completely, or to create a ultimate wink and nod by creating some false reality. And nothing against our county attorney. I brought
Lovely
him there.
man.
He's a great man, a great attorney, a super person, was a great judge. But he doesn't live in Sullivan County.
Correct.
And you talk about wink and nod.
Oh, that's the ultimate wink and nod.
Ultimate wink and nod.
You want to sit there and go back and look at any one of the people who ran. They talk about transparency. They're lying to you. They're flat out lying to you.
Of course.
Our county attorney does not live in our county, which is a violation of our charter.
Of the charter. I mean, it's not some obscure law, folks. The charter. That's the constitution of the county.
Correct.
You can get it online. You can read it. It's not very long. I've read it 30 or 40 times because it's the foundation of what you do as the county
Correct.
attorney.
Correct.
It's what you do.
Now they're having a charter commission, right?
Right.
Can we just talk about the last charter that you violated, guys?
Can we follow this one before we worry about changing it?
Correct. Correct. Don't talk to me about transparency and then violate the county. Not once, because we know after 2 years you have to re-vote
Right.
on who the chair is, who the vice chair is, who's the parliamentarian, on Annie Martin, who's
Right.
the clerk.
Right.
And you have to vote on who the county attorney is,
Right.
as well as the auditor.
Right.
So, and maybe Bob's doing a great job. He probably is. He's a highly skilled attorney. Okay?
We love him. This has nothing whatsoever
This is
to
not
do
a
with
knock on him. This
If I
is
wasn't going to stay, I was happy that he would be a steady guiding hand
Correct.
on the tiller.
He does not live in our county. They knew it, and they did it anyway, not once, but twice.
Yeah, but sometimes the ends justify the means, and they wanted to make sure that office continued with the high caliber of work that was being done. They didn't want to destroy all the positive things that they had done there. So, they had to assign someone that was there, which of course my staff said, well, if you're so happy with the way things are going, why are you getting rid of the guy that did it?
Hold on. Tom Corley was still there.
He was still there.
Tom Corley was still there.
Still there and still lives in the county.
Worked for the county for 30 years.
30 years.
Okay?
Yep.
30 years. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about a guy who showed up to work every day, did work that other people didn't want to do.
He did.
Okay?
He did.
All right. You want to talk about, municipal minutia? I mean, stuff that,
He lived in the weeds. He knows that. I used to tell him that all the time. And I thank God every day when I would walk in that parking lot that I had Tom Corley, because institutional knowledge, second to none.
Correct.
And the willingness and the ability. Look, there are people that sit in back rooms and laboratories every day doing stuff that nobody would want to do. But thank God they do it, because that's how we get medications and scientific developments and
Correct.
breakthroughs. Well, that was Tommy. I mean, he just came in his lunch pail, put it down every day, and he was ready to grind out the kind of work that most attorneys just wouldn't excite them. I mean, I can do it, but you're not going to get excited over it.
A lot of people don't do it well. Let me tell you, he also excelled at that
He
stuff.
excelled at it.
Okay?
The election law stuff, he knew the election law stuff better than the private lawyers they would hire to bring in.
Correct.
He'd have to take them aside and say, look, I don't want you to embarrass you, but if we walk into this courtroom.
You want to talk about tax law?
Yeah.
You want to talk about all that stuff?
Article 11, he was
the guy knew it backwards and forwards. But he wasn't good enough for them.
Right.
They had to go break the charter.
Right.
Okay, so you have Tom Corley sitting there, right? 30 years in the county, right?
Right.
We're going to take care of our employees, but screw you, Tom, okay?
Right.
And we're going to go with someone that doesn't live in our county. That's what they did.
Yeah.
I mean,
you also had Sharon Jankowicz on the staff.
Correct.
That's a sitting judge, more than 30 years of experience.
Correct.
So you had options.
You had options.
If they wanted to
to
keep
not
the way.
break the charter,
Right.
but that's what they chose.
Yeah.
Because that's who they are.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Not only do they not understand their job, not only do they not do their job, they willfully break the charter of this county and don't think anything of it.
Well, and the point to bring the show around, because Jacob is doing handstands.
Oh, I thought he was giving. Okay.
Is that the BOE? We talked about how exacting it is, and it's like the law doesn't apply when it's inconvenient for me.
Correct.
And it does apply, and it is what it is. So that's where we are on that one. We got lots of stuff going on in the spring, and then into the summer. There'll be a lot more items to take a look at. We got the whole issue with Bethel Woods that we know is not yet ready to
It's not been
go,
adjudicated yet, but
that's coming down.
Well, and let me tell you,
pipe.
that's a big deal in the town of Bethel. A big deal. Big deal for the county.
It is a very big deal for the county, for the Monticello School District as well. And we'll see what transpires with that. So, last thoughts.
Nothing. Just speaking of that, I will tell you, whatever decision is made in the town of Bethel, I can tell you it's going to be the right decision. Now, I was in Florida on Monday, and the planning board meeting was going on in the town of Bethel, and obviously I'm a resident of the town of Bethel. My wife's family's been a resident for over 250 years.
Right.
Put in perspective.
Right.
So I said, let me, flip on this meeting.
Just before George became president.
You're right before that guy George became president.
Washington,
yeah. And I said, let me flip on the meeting. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to be a very long meeting, and just hanging out. And so I flip it on, and I watch Danny Gettle run that meeting. Mm-hmm. If you want to know how to run a meeting, okay, turn on any first Monday of every month, okay, turn on Bethel. It's on Facebook, okay. Turn on those meetings. I have to tell you, that guy, he's knowledgeable. He runs that meeting. He treats everybody the same. I have to tell you, I've learned so much from that guy. That guy is so good at running a meeting. It's when you talk about running a meeting, that guy runs.
No, we're lucky to have them. So, a bit of a sad note. that touches Bethel. Learned today that Al Frangipani, a longtime member of the community, a lifelong resident, passed away this morning.
That's what I understand.
And very sad. Our condolences go out to his children, Denise and Nick. Those are the two children that I know.
And Claudia.
And Claudia, too, is a Frangipani. So I understand it was a sudden illness. And so we send along on behalf of Ion Sullivan and all the people of Sullivan County. We thank Al for his many years of service, and our condolences go out to the family. So that brings us to a conclusion before Jacob has a heart attack.
He's doing handstands
over here. On behalf of the chairman, Rob Doherty, I am Mike McGuire, thanking you for joining us for this episode of Ion Sullivan. I want to be sure to leave us a comment at the end and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to subscribe. We want to get the subscriptions up so that we can go live and take your input. Now, if there is some input and someone who has an idea for a show or for a guest that you think that we should bring here on Ion Sullivan, drop us a comment and let us know. In fact, I had a request for a show that we'll put together where Stewart Airport, which certainly is not in Sullivan County, but services a lot of Sullivan County residents, they're having trouble keeping airlines because of games that the Port Authority is playing with landing fees there. And someone said, hey, we should do a show to find out why we can't keep someone at Stewart Airport. So we'll be sure to do that. And you want to leave us a message, you can write to us at ionsullivan@gmail.com. I'm not going to spell it again. It's ionsullivan@gmail.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, before we finish up, you want to be sure to
smash
that like button. And again, leave us a comment. We want to hear from you. We want to continue the dialogue. So on behalf of the chairman, Rob Doherty, this is Mike McGuire thanking you for joining us for another episode of Ion Sullivan. We'll be back soon with another episode. Have a great spring, folks.